I haven't spoken to him in forever and a day. One of my favorite people I got to meet and chat with over my years with NFL Network. He is joining us right now here live at the top of hour number 2 here on this first edition in 2026 of the Rich Eisen Show. Philip Rivers is here on the program. How are you, Philip Rivers?
What's happening, Rich? It's good to talk to you. It has been a while.
It's been too long. It's been since 2017 since you've been on this show, but I've spoken to you in between. How are you doing? I very rarely start a conversation that way, but how are you doing, Philip?
Good. It's been a whirlwind of emotions, as you can imagine, the last 3 weeks or so. Most of it all positive. Again, I've said it numerous times, but just thankful. Had a blast. Obviously, wish the outcomes were a little different. We could have found a way to win a couple games and have this Houston game mean win or get in. Win and get in, but it's been a blast just to be back in the mix, and then now as it's winding down, you're getting ready to head back home here in a few days, but nothing but gratitude, really. It's been a blast.
Now I have so many questions for you, Philip. Were you watching the Colts live when Daniel Jones went down?
I was.
You were at home?
Yeah,
watching it live. We still watch. I mean, we go to mass at either 9 or 11, and those games kick off Central Time, as you know, at noon. And right.
And we watch ball pretty much most of the afternoon. My 2-year-old takes a long nap on me, and we try to keep him asleep as long as possible. And we flip channels and watch games, and we watch the bulk of Colts and Chargers games. Usually when those games are on, those are the main game on. But we flip all around and. By 3 o'clock Central, we find the games that are coming down to the wire, and about 6 o'clock, you find those other games that are coming down to the wire, and then we usually eat dinner together and then watch the Sunday night game. So, I was watching it live. Just unfortunate, gotten to be around Daniel now these last 3 weeks, and what a great year he was having. And then to battle the broken leg and then the Achilles is brutal for him. But he seems to have a great spirit about the whole deal, and look forward to seeing him back out there next fall.
Well, how soon did your phone ring after the end of that game, Philip?
Yeah, it was later. I don't remember exactly, but it was later. It was later on.
Same day? Was it same day?
Yeah, it was same day.
Wow. Man,
and then Monday.
When you're hearing the words, when you're hearing that words though in your ear on the phone, where they start, heat checking you, what was going through your mind when you heard that?
Yeah, I think first it was just, I guess my first thought was like, dang, let's go, a little bit.
Right.
And then you start going all over the place, right? Your mind kind of goes all over the place. And it was a wild, 36 hours, I guess, just of going back and forth, yeah, let's go for it. And then it was like, what, have I lost my mind? I could go on, but, It was wild. Then getting back here, getting here Monday afternoon, Monday evening, throwing in the indoor.
Right.
Felt pretty good, and it's kind of like, man, I remember this place. Obviously it was the last place I was in 2020 and that 2020 season. So then it kind of felt kind of good, and then having some familiar faces, obviously with Shane, but also there's 14 teammates that were here in 2020, and so that kind of added to the familiarity. And then the training room staff's the same, the equipment guys, the PR guys, there was a lot of familiarity, and then it felt pretty normal there once we got going in that game week.
Well, not to get too deep here, Philip, but in the time that I've been, around guys of your stature, gamers of your stature after they've retired, I'll ask them that they sometimes dream of being back in a game, go to sleep. You're in your REM state, and you're back under center, and you're in a huddle. And I'm wondering, do you have those dreams? And was the game in Seattle sort of just like that for you?
It really was. I've had a blast. I was at peace with when I finished and coaching there at St. Michael and getting to coach my son at quarterback, and it's been awesome. And so I was. It wasn't like that. It did feel like a dream, because this wasn't something I was hanging on to or hoping happened one day. I mean, it was over,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden, it was like, here you go. You got one more shot if you want it, and so yeah, I did. And standing in Seattle, it was 1,800 days or so since my last game I played in Buffalo, but it was really about 2,100 days since I was in a full house, because that was that COVID season. So
Right.
my last game in San Diego, last game with the LA Chargers at Kansas City in Arrowhead, and 2019 was the last time I was in a packed house. So I was standing out there in Seattle, and obviously we know what that atmosphere is like, and I was like, man, what is going on? This is crazy. I get to do this again. And I remember that first hit I took. It may have been the second drive, I think, and I missed Tyler Warren, I think, on something. But that first hit I took, it was one of those. It was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be fine. It officially locked me into the game, and I felt like I was right back where I'd been for 17 years. And I remember finding my brother and son, and they were sitting about 10 rows up, and they looked at me kind of like, well, and I was like, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be just fine. So it certainly got me locked in, that one, and really the next 2 weeks felt normal. They really did. They felt good. And like I said, I hate it. We couldn't find a way to climb back in this thing, but the experience has been awesome.
Yeah, and I know that obviously is the point. You want to win. You want to win. You want to take the team to the playoffs. That you were called up to hopefully do that on behalf of the organization and the coach. But the endeavor in itself, Philip, I just got to tell you, watching you was just awesome. I'm 56, and I'm looking at you, and I'm seeing what you're doing. And you inspired me. I was talking to Kurt Warner just the other day, and I'm like, when you're watching Philip on film, was there a moment where you're like, I think I can make that throw too? You know what I mean? And he said he did feel that way. And I'm wondering, who have you heard from to say similar things than what I've just told you, Philip?
Too many to even name. I mean, just Kurt being one of them, but just so many people that I either played with, talked to at some point. I mean, just too many. I mean, the emotions I felt really after that first week from the numerous people. I was reading them off, to my wife, and she was like, "Gosh, that sounds like everybody you've ever known,"
Right.
And just I wish I had a better word. I can't come up with one. It's just thankful. I really am. It's been to get to just go back out there and play and be a kid again one more time at the highest level, be a teammate, again. Because I think you've heard a lot. I bet you've heard so many former players. That's what we always talk about, is just what they miss the most is being a teammate. Getting in the hot tub in the morning, sitting in the sauna, the bus ride, all those in the huddle, in the meeting room. I mean, just on, and that had all passed. I was thankful for those 17 years, and that had all passed. And all of a sudden, you get 3 bonus weeks just right in your lap, and fell right in your lap, and it was just overwhelmed with gratitude. And what you going back to what you said, Kurt said, I mean, I bet he could make all those throws. I mean, that's what's crazy. It's like, and my arm is not, I was never a big arm guy, and
Right.
it's not, but it's not what it was 6 years ago. I mean, there's some limitations there that I go, field deep comeback, I'm good. I don't think we'll try to make that one. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I mean, that's not just going to go away, and then obviously, especially in my position, I never ran away from anybody anyway. So it was going to be from the neck up and being accurate and on time and all those things. And I missed some throws that I probably would have made had I been in a normal groove. But I made some too that felt the same as they felt, 10 years ago. So,
I mean, Philip, this game seems to adapt and change game to game, year to year. Any difference that you've sensed in the 5 years?
Not a ton. I do think that defenses are continuing to get better and better at disguising, and at least just if they can, the decisions are made in 2 seconds. These things are happening fast. So if they can delay or cause you to have a little, confusion or whatever, just a little bit, just a little bit more than normal, then it can affect you. So I feel like the defenses have gotten better. I just remember way back, defense is trying to disguise things, and it's one guy, well, he's a good disguiser. And it's like, yeah, but all these other guys on the defense aren't even showing what he's showing. So just don't even, you can ignore him. I know what y'all are in, and now these teams seem a little bit more connected, the back end to the linebackers, and they're a little more connected and wired. And so that seems to be, where it has become more challenging. But No, there were so many things that was just felt like, man, I hadn't, has it been 5 years? Like it doesn't feel like it didn't feel like that once in some of these games, and again, shoot, I still threw it to the other team in each game and made plenty of mistakes. But for the most part, I was like, dang, all right. Yeah, it's not because I was nervous about the whole thing. Like, man, it's been a long time since people have been moving real fast around me. Am I going to be able to function? And as soon as I got through that first week of practice, that Friday practice before Seattle, a ball didn't hit the ground, and I don't say that like whoop-de-doo. I know, but that's what it used to be. I was like, all right, shoot, heck yeah, that felt like a Friday practice was supposed to feel. So there's a lot of. I know when the dust will settle, I'll have even more emotions and more memories from these 3 weeks. It's all happened so fast.
Yeah. So let's get to the what next for you in the few minutes I have left with you. First things first, has anybody reached out to you for movie rights yet? Anybody?
No.
Nothing?
Golly, it's not a great ending. If we could have got hot and got on a run.
Hey, Philip, Rocky didn't win Rocky 1, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't. We didn't need the full magic carpet. That would have been great, obviously, but.
Well, the thought I had, at one point was, because I was always, I'm thinking back to 2008. We were 4-8, and me and Charlie Whitehurst were sitting in there in the quarterback room writing up the percentages we had to get in. If every game was 50-50, and it was like, 2.5%, and then it went to 10, then it went to 25, then it went, and we found a way to get in that 2008 year. And so, of course, I was the same optimism here, and I was like, we're going to find a way to get in, and we're going to play at the LA Chargers. And what in the world, what is that going to be like, And of course, none of those things happen. But no, it's. I say this truthfully. Tuesday, I'll be 8th period PE with the boys weightlifting at the school and settling back into that slow pace and Fairhope that I had the last 4.5 years.
But what if another team called you in the summer? Are you answering the phone, Phil?
Nah. I mean, y'all answer the phone and probably, if that happened, and be flattered that they even would consider it. But no, because even these last 4 years had the situation come up. I was out unless our football season was done. I just wasn't going to leave the guys, our team mid-season or leave before the year started. My son will be a senior quarterback. My other son will be a freshman on the team. We dressed all those guys 9 through 12, and so it's going to be a special next fall and off season. And so, no, just thankful it happened. It was obviously a cool experience for our whole family, and certainly the high school team back home has been a blast seeing some of the clips of all them, and a lot of them were at the game last weekend. So it all happened fast, and as quick as it's happened, it's over. But I have, other than us not getting it done, I have zero regrets. I think I would have really regretted it had I gotten back on that plane and gone back to Fairhope and not giving it a shot. So it's been awesome.
What a message to deliver to your kids now too, right? I mean, seriously, you can't have a more powerful message as a coach than belief, hope, desire, trying, give it your best. Doesn't matter what you think could go wrong. Just, as you said, dadgummit, just go for it. And what a message you can deliver to your kids now, Philip. Not that you couldn't have done it before, but now you can just say, "Look here." You know what I mean?
No, yeah, and I'm even more thankful for that because I didn't think of that at the time. Right, you're just so zeroed in on what am I going to do. But looking back on it, because the fear and the doubt I had was what was really pulling me away to say don't do it. That's not like you to have this doubt of can you do it, but it was justified doubt. Because I hadn't played in 5 years. Like, of course you have some doubt. But it was like, but the only way to find out if you can do it is to go for it, and the other part of that, Rich, to me too, is being okay with the results. And I'm okay with it. Obviously, I wish we were still playing, and I hated I couldn't have completed one more ball and didn't throw that pick six and didn't throw the interception when it was 17-all against Jacksonville and find a way to get one more first down against Seattle. So Blake's kicking the game winner, and it's a walk-off, and they don't have 42 seconds left. And so all those things are still real that you wish as a competitor that you got done. But being okay with the results is the other thing that pushed me over the edge. Just like, well, what if you pop your calf in the first quarter at Seattle? Well, that'll be embarrassing. And it'll be like, man, I've only been here for 4 days and I'm going home. And that didn't work out. but I got to the point where I was like, well, I'm okay with whatever the results are, because and you'll face them when you get there, good or bad. I think sometimes that can be crippling for all of us, and whatever we do is you get so caught up in, well, what if it doesn't go good? Well, what if it doesn't? We'll deal with it then. But you can't let that make you not go after something. And in this case, a game that I loved and had an opportunity to go out there and play one more time. It was just, I'm glad I was that discernment process that I had to go through. It was probably the hardest decision I've ever had to make, because it was truly just make it, And was there a right or wrong one? I don't know. But I'm thankful that I got the opportunity and had these last 3 weeks.
And we're thankful for it, too, just as people who watch and root and love football and love people who love football. And you certainly are one of them. I would be remiss if I let you go without talking about me the other day being 0 days old, learning that Curt Cignetti was your position coach at NC State, Philip. Really? He was.
Yeah, no, Coach Sig was there all 4 years I was at NC State. He was the tight end coach and I think recruiting coordinator my first 3 years, and then he was the quarterback coach. So we were in the meeting room together every day my senior year. And as you've seen, obviously, what an unbelievable job he's done at Indiana, but also all the other stops he's made along the way. Super smart. Really good teacher, really good throughout the week. That as I recall, it was 20 something years ago. But just in the meeting rooms, getting you prepared, understanding defenses, all those things. Had a very steady way about him, as you've seen. He's got plenty of fire, but he's very steady. Very steady, and that was felt. Certainly, I felt that being my position coach that senior year. So, yeah, what he's done there at Indiana has been awesome. It's amazing how long when you're in this sport for a long time, how many people you either know or have played against or cross paths, and it seems like when we start talking about games and this and that, you go, oh, I knew him. Oh yeah, we played against him. So many cool things. Such a small football world when it comes down to it. If you've been in it long enough.
Yeah, he's built a bully in Indiana. They could easily win it all, and he could easily be a guy building a dynasty in college football right now, for real.
It is. It's crazy. And it's also crazy. I'm sure you saw what they're talking about, these 4 head coaches that were all part of Saban's staff at one point at Alabama, which is unbelievable, really. What those guys and how many guys have gone, either been with him or at some point gone on and done great things at other places is pretty cool.
No doubt. Hey, Philip Rivers, don't be a stranger. I'm going to keep reaching out to you. I just want to keep checking in on you, heat checking you. And I honestly, I'm not just blowing smoke. What you did, your decision, the way you've carried yourself, the way you've gone about your business, it is so inspiring to so many people. And I know I was talking about how you have a coaching point now with your kids. Every coach now has a coaching point with their kids based on what you've just done over the last 3 weeks, for real. And you should feel great about that, man. You really should.
No, I appreciate that. I always enjoyed our visits over the years.
Thank you.
Congrats to you too. Shoot, you've had a heck of a career and rolling. Look at you, the Rich Eisen studio, man.
I've got my own mug. You look at me. I've got my own mug. Philip, are you? I'm afraid to ask this question. Are you a coffee drinker? Do you drink coffee?
I do. I'm a seasonal coffee drinker,
Okay.
When it's hot and muggy in the summer down there in the South, coffee doesn't sound appealing to me. Never been an iced coffee guy. So, but a cold morning here in Indy, a cup of coffee is perfect.
I don't know if you're aware, but anybody who goes 1,800 days in between NFL head starts and comes back at age 44, you get a free Rich Eisen Show mug. So listen when you're away. Congratulations.
Perfect.
Congratulations.
I'll send you a pic of me having a good cup of coffee here.
Fantastic. You had no idea that was a perk of your comeback until this very moment. So happy New Year to you.
Even more glad we made this work now. Yeah, happy New Year's, Rich.
Thanks. Same to you. Same to you and your family. Enjoy being in PE on Tuesday, Philip.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. All right. See you guys.
Philip Rivers, everybody, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. The best of the best. I'm not kidding. What a coaching point. Hey, you don't think you can do it? You don't think?
Yeah, watch this.
You're concerned about your set of circumstances? He's not a me type guy, right? Like, so he's not going to look at me. But other coaches can 100% say, look what Philip Rivers did. Yeah. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.